Here's a conversation reflecting on Chapter 13, Connection as Collective Repair.
Let's get into it. We're unpacking Chapter 13 today, which is titled Connection as Collective Repair.
Right.
And for anyone who's, feeling that constant low-grade hum of anxiety about the state of things, this chapter's premise is, well, it hits home immediately.
It really does.
The core argument isn't that we need new answers, it's that we need a completely new lens.
And that new lens, that's really our mission for this discussion. We're exploring a shift in perspective, moving from seeing a personal struggle, say, your burnout or your anxiety, as some kind of individual flaw.
Right, like something is wrong with me.
Exactly. And shifting to see it as part of a shared civilizational pattern.
Yeah.
It moves the burden of repair off of your shoulders and puts it back where it belongs, on the culture we all inherited.
And that central conflict, the source material lays it out so clearly. Our whole civilization basically tells us that hyper-independence is the goal.
It's the highest virtue.
The highest virtue, yeah. It rewards being separate, being a solitary success. But in doing that, it kind of quietly starves the parts of us that are wired for cooperation, for interdependence. And that's where that private ache comes from. That feeling that something is just off or missing.
And that ache isn't just, a philosophical problem. The source is clear. This is a biological crisis. We're literally wired for connection. It's a survival mechanism.
Not just an emotional preference.
Not at all. Think about the science. Your nervous system, it actually regulates itself when it senses a safe connection with another person. Creativity explodes in collaboration. Our whole identity is shaped by social resonance.
Okay.
So when a culture demands separateness, your body, your biology registers that as a threat.
And that biological reality, that's what makes this whole shift possible.
That's the key. Once your burnout or isolation is recognized not as some personal failing, but as a patterned outcome of living in these misaligned conditions, well, the whole conversation just changes.
Do you stop asking what's wrong with me?
Exactly. We stop asking, how do I have to adapt to this broken system? And we can finally start asking, how do we name these conditions and repair them together?
Okay, hold on. I get the biology part. Connection feels good. It makes us feel safe. I'm with you. But how do we make that leap from, me regulating my own stress to fixing civilization? That feels huge.
It does.
And honestly, the last thing someone dealing with burnout needs is another massive task, right? Like, go fix the culture. Isn't that just more pressure?
That's such a crucial question. And the material argues that the repair actually starts by removing that individual pressure.
How so?
Well, when a person really adopts this new lens, when you can step back and see the forces that shaped you instead of just blaming yourself, three things tend to happen.
Okay.
First, shame just dissolves. It's not a personal failure anymore. It's a symptom of a larger dysfunction. Second, capacity returns. What felt completely overwhelming now feels workable.
Because it's not all on you.
It's not all on you. And finally, that opens the door for real connection, which leads to what the source calls coherence.
Coherence. So just to be clear, we're not talking about some warm, fuzzy feeling here.
Not at all, no. Connection, when it's defined as coherence, is structural. It's architectural. Think of it like the steel frame of a building.
Okay, the thing that holds it all together.
That's precisely. The material gives that example of the fictional Jonathan Wilder. As a kid, he learns to survive disconnection at home by becoming hyper-aware of his parents' emotional states.
A coping mechanism.
A brilliant coping mechanism. But then he grows up and builds corporate systems based on that same blueprint, disconnected but managed by hypervigilance. The individual solution scales the problem into civilization itself.
So if the problem scales up, the repair has to scale up too. And that brings it right back to the listener's world. When you, the listener, start to return to coherence yourself, you become what the source calls a stabilizing node in the whole human network.
Yes. You start regulating the people around you. You interrupt dysfunction just by being present and grounded in your family, your team, wherever you are.
You expose the distortion just by being stable.
That is the real takeaway. We look at things like polarization, anxiety, burnout, isolation, and we treat them like they're all separate crises.
Right.
But this framework says no. They're all symptoms of the same upstream issue. A civilization built on the myth of separateness. And culture doesn't change through some, mass political movement or ideology.
It changes through distributed connection.
One stabilizing node at a time. People returning to themselves and to each other.
So the ultimate summary here is that Chapter 13 makes this incredibly powerful case that your own healing, your own clarity, It's literally inseparable from the healing of our culture. Your return to connection is an actualizational repair.
It is. And the source has this one line that says a reconnecting person begins to carry the future inside them. So given that, visual clarity stabilizes systems and culture doesn't change through some big epiphany, I want to leave you with this to think about. What specific system in your own life, your team, your family, your community, is already being influenced or even stabilized simply because you decided to return to coherence?
Thanks for listening. Before moving on, take a pause and read the next chapter. The conversation for that chapter will be waiting here when you're ready.